Hey again. And I have one more thing that I want to share. Because yeah, was speaking to me. And that is, what does it mean to wait on God? Now, there are many meanings to waiting on God. There's one that you will find quite often in the Word. There can be a waiting on God, meaning in that moment in time, Yah wants you to be still. Like he says, be still and know that I'm God. So he wants you to wait on him so that he can speak to you. So sometimes he wants you to be quiet, to be still, to still your thoughts and your, just be still in his presence and wait for him to speak. Now there is a waiting on God that you will find in the Word, and that's Matthew 25, if I'm correct. Again, I'll leave the, I try to memorize the word. I don't always remember the scripture reference, but it says, "Who is the trusted and wise servant? The master set that servant over his household to give to the other servants food at the right time. Who is that trusted and wise servant? The master will come at an hour and will find that servant doing what he commanded, and it will be a day of blessing for that servant. Surely I say to you that the master will set him in charge of everything he owns." That's what the word says about what a master, who is Yahushua, will do for a good and faithful servant. Now the word also goes on to talk about an unfaithful servant who the master gave the same task, but he said in his heart, "My master delays." And then he began to abuse and begun to injure and use the other servants. And the master came at an hour he did not expect. And if I remember it correctly, it says like he rent him in pieces, or he was cast into outer darkness or something like that. Now that's what the word said. Now, this is, and I gave you both scriptures so you understand what it means to wait on God, and also how to recognize when one has stopped waiting on God, or you have stopped waiting on God, or are not waiting on God. The master went away, and he was given a command what to do. Now, the servant, his focus was not on when's the master coming. His focus was on what the master commanded. And because he had his mind focused on what the master commanded, the master came at an hour that he didn't know. And he said it became a day of blessing for the servant. Now for the wicked servant, that servant had set his eyes on not on what the master commanded, but when the master was coming. And then he drew the conclusion in his heart, my master delays. He's not coming now. That means he lost sight of, lost hope, and stopped doing what the master commanded, and then begun to abuse the other servants. Now, to wait on God is simply this: to do what he commanded. Whatever the master commands, you just do. To not wait on God is to not do what the master commands, but simply looking for when the master is coming. And that's something very, again, important that people need to realize that Yah wants us to do, to wait on him. To wait on him through the meditation of his word. To wait on him by doing what he commanded and accomplishing what Yah said to do. don't fall into the trap where you don't wait on him. Because Yah said in the end times there come scoffers who will say, where the promise of his coming? Where is the promise of his coming? And that scoffers are not just talking about people that don't belong to Yoshua, even in the body of Yoshua, because they themselves have stopped waiting on him. Where is the promise of his coming? But if your mind is on what he commanded, and you're truly waiting on him. And this is what I want to share with you today. Shalom.